Hello, welcome to JIBRIN Angle on Oweleketv. My name is JIBRIN, and this is my angle. Once again, we have our regular guest on this show, Barrister Austin Manta, a very senior legal practitioner. We're going to be talking about Dele Farotimi's case. The update, we're actually going to be giving you an update. But before then, let's welcome Barrister Austin Manta. Barrister, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me here.
All right. Let's get on to the topic of the day. I think the magistrate court has given ruling on. I don't know if I will call a revised ruling because there was which of them. I think there was the one for the 50 million is supposed to be from the one at the High Court, right?
Yes, at the Federal High Court.
Federal High Court. Okay, yeah, okay. I think I was mixing it up. Okay, so the magistrate now, my God, this guy, they want to kill this guy. High Court is asking for 50 million bail. The magistrate is asking for 30 million bail. I don't get it. Before I ask me the main question, this bail of a thing, 50 million, well, people, you hear 500 million sometimes on different cases. 500 million bail. This bail, this money, I don't get it. Do they really pay cash to the courts? And is the money refundable?
No, not really. What the court, when the court mentions money, is a bond. It's not that
that's the way it's done in the US as well. Okay.
It's not that the surety pays that amount. No, you just enter into a bond.
A bond,
in case
okay.
The person escapes, then you have to pay up that bond.
Okay.
Otherwise, you are not required to pay any amount of money. You just enter into a bond for that.
All right, that's understandable because it doesn't make sense for. I thought, Nigeria, everything is different. I thought just like we have at the police station where you have to bail someone, police will ask for money that is supposed to be free stuff. Anyway, let's go to Dele's stuff. Now, the magistrate court actually asked for I think surety, right? 2 sureties that with property, and he has to deliver his international passport and 30 million naira. Barrister, can you give us your thoughts on this whole issue?
Well, thank you very much. I have been a very stringent critic of what has emerged in Nigeria as very stringent bail conditions. We don't used to have this in the past. Over time, I think coinciding with the prosecution by EFCC, you began to see very harsh and stringent conditions of bail by all the courts, now even including magistrate courts. Is totally unnecessary. First of all, we have to recognize that a person brought to court, a defendant brought to court is presumed innocent. Even the Supreme Court acknowledged that if you give conditions that are so stringent to be fulfilled by somebody before being bailed, it amounts to actually denying the person the bail. But this is what we find now being adopted by all courts across the land today. Very stringent conditions. This is a magistrate court, a court of summary trial, where we make oral applications. On the first day that he was brought to court, an oral application was made. Surprisingly, the magistrate turned it down and said, go and put it in writing. Meanwhile, you are a court of summary trial where oral applications are made and they are taken. So why he refused that in the first place doesn't make sense. And secondly, the whole purpose of bail is to secure the attendance of somebody, to ensure that the person does not escape. So over time, we realize that if a person has such a stature, is such a person that cannot escape, you can even give him bail in self-cognizance. You don't ask for shorties. He is a well-known lawyer with a family, with a chambers in Ekiti, with a chambers in Lagos. He ought to have been given bail summarily on the first day he was presented to court in self-cognizance, because the offense is bailable and whatnot. So what they are doing and what is happening in an indirect way is proving what the guy wrote in his books. Even though the case he used in the book may not be the yardstick for measuring the corruption, but what is happening now with him is in a way proving all the corruption that he is attacking in his book. Because I do not see this issue. You charge him in the magistrate court, you went and charged him in the Federal High Court. Now you refuse to grant him, they put him in prison for over 2 weeks. Then you come and make a ruling. Even you may have heard of the drama that happened during the ruling, when the magistrate came to court and claimed to have forgotten the ruling at home.
I was going to ask you. That was the next question. That's the next question I wanted to ask you. Yes. What is your thought on that? Okay. The truth is, I don't get it. This is supposed to be a very high profile case. High profile case in the sense that this thing has generated a whole global outcry and generated global attention. For how come a magistrate, for God's sake, what was it as a result of being nervous or whatever? Is that, do you think that this case is just too big for him to handle? I don't get it. What could be the reason behind a magistrate judge forgetting his ruling at home? That was embarrassing.
Well, like I said, right from the first day that the matter was presented to the magistrate, he never handled the matter in a professional manner, in a manner that gave assurance to anybody that he is in charge of the court, he is in charge of his the trial. And this latest drama just goes to reinforce the perception that he is not up to it, or probably he's put up to this by some other, by some extraneous forces. Now, as a judge, even assuming for the sake of argument, you forgot your file or your ruling at home, you don't come and tell people in the open court.
Honestly,
you are not
again,
to come into
that's
court.
another issue.
The normal official time of court is 9 o'clock, but normally judges come in by 10, by 11. You can just stay in your chamber, send your driver to go and bring the file quietly without anybody knowing, without the public knowing. You don't need to come into court and then be looking for your file. When you are coming into court, before a magistrate or a judge comes into court, he has a course list. He looks at it, the files are arranged and brought. So it doesn't make sense for you to come into court and start saying, looking here and there, taking for, and ending up saying that, oh, I left the file at home. It was not tidy, it was not neat. It didn't show that he is in control of the court over which he is presiding. So that is one angle. Then you now come and put these stringent conditions. Like I said, this is a bailable, very bailable offense. There's absolutely no need for the 30 million naira bail bond. There's no need for 2 shorties, one of which must have property. Let's face it, this man is a well-known lawyer, a well-known civil rights activist. He has his family, he has his chambers in Ekiti and Lagos. Where do you think he is running? And he has given an interview. He has said he is not going anywhere. He is fighting a court.
Yes, sorry to cut you short before I forget. Let me add to this question. The question I already asked. What is this issue of a gag order? I think that is one of the bail conditions as well. Why is the judge dishing out a gag order against him?
I was coming to that. You know, it is normally it is it is proper to make a gag order in terms of defamation where somebody is giving press statements, giving interviews, and one of which is the subject of the defamation, one of which is the subject. Remember, apart from the book, he is charged for giving an interview with, who is this person again? He gave an interview where he
Yeah.
uttered some of those words that are part of the charges. So in a situation like that, it's normal to give a gag order. But the gag order is limited to the issue at hand, not a general one. What they say is that he should not give interview. You
That's the
cannot make
point.
such a
Oh
gag
my God.
order. Does it mean that he cannot talk on any other issue? It's only with respect to the issue at hand, the trial, for instance, the defamation that is at hand, that he should be gagged. It should not be a general gag order that don't give interview. He is free. We have freedom of speech under the Constitution. He can go and give an interview and talk about any other issue. How will that affect the case that is here? So they are trying to borrow. Of course, this is common in the US and other, but it's not common in Nigeria. So they are trying to borrow, and in the act of borrowing, very uncritically, they didn't go the way it should go. The gag order should have been, please don't give any interview about AFE Babalola's corruption influence on the judiciary, or even corrupt influence of the judiciary. Limit it to the issue that is before the court and nothing else. But they just don't give an interview. That is a violation of his fundamental rights.
Yeah, that's
Now,
that,
there's another issue. Deposit your passport. You remember the Federal High Court also gave
correct.
him
How many passports? He had only one passport, for God's sake.
bail, and made the same requirement of a deposit of the passport. So how is he going? We have only one passport. How is he going to deposit a passport in the Federal High Court and also deposit a passport in the Magistrate Court for the purpose of being released from detention? So some of these people, and you cannot tell me that the magistrate is not aware of the conditions that were given, because they were matters of public knowledge. He must have been reading it, just like we read it, that the Federal High Court has required Dele Farotimi to deposit his passport. So why would he also now make it a condition? So the sum total is that the impression he's creating, the magistrate created, is that there's somebody playing the music behind and he is dancing. He's a puppeteer, he's dancing. And that goes to prove some of the things that Dele Farotimi wrote in his book about the corruption in the judiciary. Even though the issue he used as an example in his book is not sufficient.
All right. Now the other question is about the shorty. Now I don't understand. The High Court asked for 50 million. The magistrate asked for 30 million. And we have Peter Obi has already offered. I don't know if he's offering for, he made offer for both courts. That is about 80 million. Probably that means he will be raising 80 million. I don't know if that is the case. But my own, I was going to, before now, I got the news today. But before then, I was asking myself, does it mean that Dele Farotimi cannot, because he's still on detention, for God's sake? It obviously means, if he's still on detention, it obviously means that he has not been able to fulfill that first bail condition, which is that of the 50 million. So what are we talking about here? That guy is a popular activist. He has so many people close to him, people who are millionaires and billionaires, possibly billionaires, of course. I don't know. He's such a well-loved person, and how come he's finding it difficult to actually provide this make available the bail conditions, especially with regard to the personality, that is the someone to actually stand for him, a shorty.
Like I said, nobody is required to pay that sum
Yes,
of
but
50 million.
we are talking about
You
raising of
only,
bail
you,
bond, of course,
yes,
whether
no,
you
you
are
only,
required or not. But the most important thing is Dele Farotimi's image, his pedigree is big enough to attract some important personalities in the society that
of course,
are capable to
of course.
actually raise this bond.
I believe that he has fulfilled the conditions of the Federal High Court, but he could not be released because he is also under detention by the Magistrate Court. So until he fulfills this second condition before he will regain his freedom. Remember, he is charged in the Federal High Court on different counts, cybercrime. He's charged in the Magistrate Court on criminal defamation.
Information.
So those charges are separate, even though they arise from the same set of circumstances. So if you fulfill the conditions in the Federal High Court, it will not result in your being released from detention because you still have an issue
Case to
in
answer.
the Magistrate Court. I believe he has fulfilled the condition. I think I read somewhere that they fulfilled the conditions in the Federal High Court. So if they are able to fulfill the present conditions of bail in
So
the
the one they are
Magistrate Court,
talking about, the one OB is offering for to shorty him for, which of the are you aware of which one specifically? Is it both of them or the magistrate court? Because I read the news today. I assume is that of the magistrate court.
I think it should be because the OB statement came before the Magistrate Court issue was yesterday, and
Yes.
OB statement came before yesterday. So it
Oh, it
should
came
be,
before yesterday. Okay. Okay.
yes, it should be in respect of
I'm
the
sorry
Federal
about
High
that. That
Court.
means that's no. I unfortunately I read the news today. It's sort of anyway. I've been busy doing so many other stuff. All right. That means okay. Probably Obi, the one you talked about that it's been fulfilled. The bail condition has been fulfilled. That means I think that should be Obi who did that. Sort of. So I just hope you'll be able. Of course, Obi is capable. If it's just a bond, is capable, more than capable to actually take care of both bail conditions.
I,
Stand
I
as a
can
shorty.
I can I can assure you that Dele Farotimi will not be lacking people that will come up to fulfill the bail conditions. That
Yeah,
I can assure you.
of course, expectedly.
Yes.
So anyway, that is it. So, as a lawyer, what do you see? What do you foresee in this case? He
Well,
has the magistrate and he has the one at the high court.
the magistrate court, what I understand is that they have filed a notice of criminal objection to the jurisdiction of the magistrate court. And the notice is about the fact that defamation is not a criminal offense in Ekiti State. You remember I told you on this platform that
Yeah.
I'm aware that Lagos and Edo states have decriminalized defamation. Before, almost all the states have on their statutes, on their criminal statutes, defamation as a crime. But when they are reenacting their criminal statutes, most states are removing.
What of on federal level, federal government? Is it a crime?
At the federal level, defamation is personal. So you cannot relate it to federal level. But there are crimes that attach to defamatory statements, which come under Cybercrime Act. When you make a statement, that is why you see the federal government took him to the Federal High Court under the Cybercrime Prevention Act. The purpose there is if you make an online statement or something in writing that threatens the peace or is capable of breaking the peace of the state, the government can charge you. for that. But if you make a statement against somebody which is defamatory, in criminal terms, it's a state matter, not a federal matter. But the federal government has passed Cybercrime Prevention Act, under which they can hide and prosecute something that amounts to defamation under the guise that is capable of threatening the peace and stability of a community or a section of the community. And that is where they were able to take Dele Farotimi to the Federal High Court. The charges in the Federal High Court are not for defamation, don't forget. They are under the Cyber Crimes Act, just like I said.
Okay, yeah.
Yes.
I remember that. All right. So now, when after this bill, the moment the Dele fulfills this bill, what next? Where are we headed next? Both at the High Court and the Magistrate Court.
When he fulfills the bail conditions, you remember, like the Magistrate Court, I believe they have adjourned to 10th of February next year. If he fulfills the bail conditions, the magistrate will sign his release warrant from the correction center, from the prison, and he will walk out a free person to come back to court on the adjourned date, which is, I think, 10th of February, 2025. And then they will now start the preliminary arguments on the preliminary objection. If it turns out that under the new codification of the criminal statutes in Ekiti, defamation is no longer a crime, then all what we have done in the magistrate court would have been a waste of time, because the magistrate would not have jurisdiction to go forward with the case. At that point, the case has to collapse. It has to be struck out.
I don't get it. In the first place, barrister, why would they come up with such charge against him when you just clearly said that it is no longer a crime in Ekiti State? Is it not Ekiti State? It's Ekiti. The magistrate court is that of Ekiti State, right?
Definitely, it's Ekiti State.
I don't get it. What is their basis for bringing up the? I don't get this. Why will state government bring up a case that is even against their own law? That is in conflict with the law of the state?
Remember, this is arising from a complaint by an individual to the police. And based on the complaint, the police acted and charged the person to court. Now, like I said, this is an evolving issue. Most states still retain the defamation as a criminal statute. It's not easy to find within the 36 states which have removed it. We notice that Lagos has done, Edo has done.
How did you, barrister, hold on. You as a lawyer, how did you find out that it's been abolished in Ekiti State?
No, I didn't say so. I said
that's not what you said.
No, I didn't say so categorically. I said a preliminary objection has been raised by Dele Farotimi's lawyers that defamation is no longer a criminal offense. And the first person to raise that issue was
well, you mentioned two states that have you mentioned Edo and Ekiti State. Yes. So why?
No,
on what basis did you mention that? Sorry,
Edo and Lagos State.
Okay, Edo and Lagos. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
How we come to know? For instance, now we have what we call the Administration of Criminal Justice Act in Kaduna State, and then we have the Kaduna State Penal Code, which has now been enacted in 2017. Before this, almost all the northern states were using the Northern Penal Code. And under that penal code, defamation is a criminal offense. Now, when each state reenacts its own particular penal code, like Kaduna did in 2017, they can choose to remove it because it has been in the public domain that let's not make defamation a criminal offense. So some states who are progressive will remove it from their criminal statute when they are reenacting it. But some will still retain it. We still have it in Kaduna State. It can still be prosecuted as a criminal offense in Kaduna State. Now, Lagos reenacted their own. The South used to use what we call the criminal code. The North used what we call the penal code. So in the South, each state has also been reenacting its own criminal code, particular to that state, not the whole South. Just like in the North, each state is reenacting its own particular to the state, not the whole North again. So in the course of that, some states are removing, some are not removing. It was Professor Odinkalu that brought this issue to the attention that, look, Ekiti State's reenactment of its criminal statute has not retained defamation as a criminal offense. So by extension, we can now put, if that is correct, we can now put Lagos State, Edo State, and Ekiti State as states that have removed defamation as a criminal offense. And if that is true, then the charges in the magistrate court are dead on arrival.
All right. Thank you so very much, Barrister. Thank you for your time. Once again, our viewers, you have had Barrister Austin Manta, a very senior legal practitioner. He's been talking about Dele Farotimi's case with versus AFE Babalola at the High Court and Federal High Court and State Magistrate Court. All right. Thank you so very much, Barrister, for joining us once again as we come to the end of this segment.
Thank you.